I'll take it apart so you can see how all the internals fit together. First, the upper receiver comes off. You can see most of it's cut out to allow for the bolt. Bolt assembly lifts right out. You can see there's long thin bits with these washers here for a bearing and these for some extra weight. So the rate of fire can be adjusted by changing the washers. Those washers ensure that that bolt handle runs in its track correctly. We'll take the magazine out and unscrew the front grip. The stock is held in by two little wooden dowels that can come off. Grip comes off the same way. Next, we'll unscrew the side plate. And here you can see how the trigger and sear function. Most of these parts are 6mm plywood. Magazine catch needs to be offset to one side so that there's still space for the sear. And then we've got the bolt up front. And on this side, you can see how it interacts with the sear. So we'll take all these bits out. The trigger's pretty simple, not much going on there. It's got a couple of spacers. Magazine catch just has a hole for that spring. We'll unhook the bolt spring and take a closer look at that. Well, you can see there's these two redundant holes as well as a peg to hold the bolt handle. That sear piece should actually be 6mm thick, but on mine it's only 3. This piece we can see the block that holds the spring, and again this piece that's narrowed down to 3mm, that shouldn't be narrowed down, just keep it at 6. You can cut out 4 or even 6 of these magazine side plates together. All these holes you should be able to fit a pin through so that it moves freely. Half of your plates will also need these 3 screw holes. The other parts for the magazine will need to be cut out one at a time because these are 19mm thick. These templates and all the other templates can be stuck on with a glue stick. You may need to thin down this block so that it slides into the receiver easier. The front block is pretty easy to line up. Make sure the rear one is aligned according to the blueprint. With that plate glued on, drill right through the block so you can hammer a pin into place. That pin will be about 35mm long. To help you align the other side plate, you can put a drill bit through those 2 holes, and then you can start screwing it down. Round off the inside of this V-notch and these edges of the rotor. Once that's rounded off, you can hammer the pins in. Once you've tested the magazine and it works properly, you can use this template to help you align some little covers for those pins. They can just be made of icy pole sticks or something like that. Assembly of the receiver can start with these 2 very long side plates. They're made of 3mm ply and they've got 3 holes there so that a pin will fit tightly through them. We'll start by gluing the grip onto the right hand side plate. Now you may want to glue these 2 pieces together beforehand. Line the magazine up and use that to position these pieces. The next pieces of the frame will glue are the trigger guard, which you can make from laminated plywood. That slots into the grip right there. And also this block. This one needs to have either a screw hole or a nut and bolt system so that the front grip can be attached. And that glues in just there. Now, there's no thickness marked for this because it's more of a guide than a template, and obviously making this is a bit hard without a lathe, but you might be able to find something similar. With the lower receiver done, it's time to start working on the upper. Start by cutting these pieces out and then screwing them into place. The sides will simply glue on like that. The side plates are made of 12mm thick pine. Of course, you could use plywood, use whatever you have. And you can tack one of those side plates down with double-sided tape, just to make sure that everything moves properly. These templates are to help you contour the upper receiver. The flash hider and front sight can be simply screwed onto the receiver, so that if you want to paint those orange, which I recommend, it's easy to do. They will just screw onto the end there. This part's quite long, so I just suggest reinforcing this joint with either a dowel or a tenon, and you'll have to shave a little bit out to clear the receiver. This piece at the back, that can just be butt joined because it's pretty short. And as for the rear sight, that is just glued in here. You have to be careful with that front sight block because if you look here, that bolt link rubs on it very slightly, and it leads to a lot of realism, also known as malfunctions.